Hello children, welcome to PKS Physics Clinic, and in this continuation of lecture on oscillations, today we are going to discuss some special cases, okay, like oscillations of an object which is put through a tunnel running through the center of earth, okay, oscillation of a block which is slightly depressed in a liquid, and in many more cases we will be discussing today. So, let us get started. First one is oscillations of an object, oscillations of an object in earth tunnel, okay. So, in earth tunnel. Now, this is a very interesting discussion. If we take a tunnel, if we dig a tunnel which is passing through the center of earth, center of earth is C, suppose, center of earth is C, and the object is released here in this tunnel. Then children, it is very interesting to see that this object will continue to oscillate indefinitely, provided there is no friction in the tunnel. Clear? We will discuss how it is possible. In fact, children, as the object drops down into the tunnel and goes towards earth, goes towards or goes away from earth, in both the cases, it gets a restoring force acting on this object, and this force varies with respect to its position in the tunnel, because you know that acceleration due to gravity as we move inside earth is what? Is variable, right? And at the center it becomes how much? 0. Obviously at that will be going towards what? Center. It is going to experience a variable restoring force, and the restoring force comes from what? From where? The restoring force comes, in fact, from the earth's gravitational pull, okay? So, let us say the object is going towards earth and is being dropped into this frictionless tunnel, and the object is located a distance x from the center of earth. Suppose the object is here, okay, located what distance from the center of earth? X. So, as the object is moving towards earth, that will be experienced by this variable sphere. This sphere is called sphere of influence, and you can see as the object will keep on going towards, then this sphere will also go on shrinking in size, and the force will also go on decreasing. Here the force will be 0, and as the object moves on the other side, then the force will also increase, because the radius of this sphere will go on increasing. Clear? You know also acceleration due to gravity is maximum on the surface and minimum at the center, that is how much? 0. Okay. So, let us see here. So, children, here we made certain assumptions. Let a body of mass m is dropped in a frictionless tunnel passing through the center of earth. At a given instant, let the particle is located at distance x from the center of earth. Clear? So, now like we said, the particle is going to be attracted only by the inner sphere of earth, whose radius is how much? X, and this radius will go on changing as the particle is increasing, is moving towards the center of earth. As it moves towards the center of earth, it will decrease, moves away from the center of earth, again it will increase. The force here will be maximum, and again the particle will move up from the surface of the earth. So, we will see here, we will say mean density of earth. Mean density of earth, children, rho will be mass of earth divided by 4 pi by 3 into Re cube, that is volume of earth. This becomes mean density of earth, because you know density of earth varies, it is minimum at the surface and maximum at the center, right? Me is total mass of earth, and R is what? Total radius of earth. So total mass divided by total volume is the mean density, right? Now we need to calculate what will be mass of this inner sphere of Earth. So we have mass of inner sphere of Earth, that is me dash, will be equal to 4 pi by 3 x cube into density. We know mass is equal to volume into density, yes, because we know mass is equal to volume into density, and the inner sphere has radius x, so its volume is 4 pi by 3 x cube into rho. And now children, we already know how much is the value of rho, so if we replace this value, then me dash will become 4 pi by 3 x cube into me divided by 4 pi by 3 re cube. So cancel 4 pi by 3, 4 pi by 3. So we get me divided by re cube into x cube. So this is the radius of inner sphere of Earth. So what will be the net force acting on this? Because this inner mass me dash is going to attract this mass small m toward itself. So restoring force F will be equal to gravitational force, and this force will be negative. So how much do we get? Minus G me dash into m divided by x square, right? Now we'll put the value of me dash out here. So F becomes minus G me dash, we got me by re cube into x cube, me by re cube into x cube into m divided by how much you have? X square, right? Now we cancel out here x square, only x is left. So F becomes minus G me m x divided by re cube. Clear? Now once we got this force, then we can get acceleration also. Acceleration, therefore acceleration, children, E is equal to how much you have? F by m. So if you divide by m, then this m term will easily cancel out. So acceleration becomes minus G me over re cube into x, and I will call this equation 1. So you can see that G me by re cube is a constant, universal constant, gravitation, mass of Earth and radius of Earth, these all are constants, right? So we can conclude that E is directly equal to minus x, hence motion is what, children? Simple harmonic motion. Now since we know acceleration now, and we also know the motion is simple harmonic motion, then we say here, but E equals to minus omega square into x. So we compare this equation 1 and equation 2. So omega square becomes how much, children? Omega square becomes G me divided by re cube. Then how much is omega? Omega becomes root over G me by re cube. And once you know how much is omega, then you can calculate time period. Therefore time period T is equal to how much you have, children? 2 pi by omega, T 2 pi. If I divide, this will be reversed, it will be re cube divided by gm. So children, if you are put in a tunnel which is running through the center of Earth and the tunnel is frictionless, then this will be the time period which will be oscillating. Now we can modify this also. We can modify, in gravitation we have done, but Gme is equal to G into Re square. If I put this value out here, then what do I get? I get T is equal to 2 pi root over Re by G. So here we arrive at a very important relation. If you recall the time period of a simple pendulum, then we had 2 pi root over L by G for a simple pendulum. So if we compare with this, then you can see that L is replaced by what? Radius of Earth. So if I put an object in a tunnel running through the center of Earth and the tunnel is frictionless, then tunnel will behave with the time with the oscillations of the object will be about this point at the mean position, up and down, and will behave like a simple pendulum which will have its effective length is equal to the what? Radius of Earth. So we had a very interesting discussion, children, that if an object is put into a tunnel running through the center of Earth, it will have a time period of 2 pi root over Re over G square root. Okay. So now I hope you have understood it. Now children, we will be discussing oscillations of a liquid, in U-tube. Okay. Now we shall be studying now oscillations of a liquid in a U-tube, children. This is a very interesting discussion. Here I will be writing the topic first. Oscillations of liquid in U-tube. Okay. How liquid is oscillating in U-tube? Let us understand this. Here we have a U-tube. Okay. This is a U-tube. And suppose it is filled with the liquid up to a height, suppose L. Liquid stands in both limbs of the tube till a height what? L. Now what I will do is, I will depress the liquid in one of the arms of the U-tube. Suppose I depress the liquid up to here, right? So through distance x, suppose. So this mass of the liquid is depressed. Now if I depress it by distance x out here, then this will be rising up by what distance? X. So children, the total liquid which is displaced in the tube will be of what length? 2x. And this entire weight of the liquid will be setting up a deflecting force, and the liquid will be set up in motion. Right? Now one, the liquid will be rising on right hand side, and it will be oscillating on the left hand side. And this deflection in the will be caused by what? The weight of the liquid which has been displaced. If I displace x this side, it goes down by x, and this side it goes by what distance? X. So the total weight of the liquid will be making the oscillations inside the tube, which will be forcing the liquid to oscillate inside the tube, will be due to the weight of the liquid which is having what length? 2x. Okay. So this is how it is. And let us see what is happening when I depress it. See, this is the tube in question, right? And I depress this side. I am depressing this side by a distance what? X. So the liquid comes here. Initially it was here. I am depressing this side by a distance x. So the liquid will be climbing in the other arm of the tube. By what distance? Same distance here, x. So it will become something like this. So you can see the distance 2x is very crucial for us. This distance 2x, in fact, will be crucial because the weight of the liquid here will produce the extra pressure or extra force necessary to move the liquid. Clear? So the problem is very easy. We will make some assumptions. I will say let length of the liquid in each arm is how much here? L, and mean density of liquid will be considering as rho. Clear? So here is what you have to do. Let cross section area of the tube is equal to A, and length of the liquid in each arm of the tube is equal to L. Clear? So, excuse me, I'll also make assumption. Let mean density of liquid, in fact mean density itself is equal to rho. So children, what will be weight of the liquid? Mass of the liquid? Mass of the liquid in the tube will be total length of the liquid, which is 2L, into area. So children, this will become volume into density. This will be mass of the liquid in the tube, that is m equals to 2LA into rho. This is the mass of the liquid will be set into oscillation. Clear? And then extra force or external force applied on the liquid, F will be equal to 2x into A, volume, into density into G. So this is the extra force which has been applied to the liquid column, and this extra force which is applied will act as what? Will act as a deflecting force. Now the restoring force will be equal and opposite to this force. So restoring force will be F will be equal to minus 2x A rho into G. So we got how much is the restoring force, and this restoring force is actually causing deflection in what mass? 2LA into G, right? So therefore acceleration of the liquid in the tube is equal to how much? F by m. And how much is F, children? F is minus 2x A rho into G divided by 2L A into rho. Cancel out 2 and 2, cancel out rho and rho. So how much is acceleration? Acceleration is equal to minus A G by L into A, and A also gone. So we have minus xg minus g by L into x. This is, children, what we got is the acceleration. So g and L are constants. So acceleration is equal to minus x. Hence motion is SHM. I will be writing this as equation 1. G by L is constant, so acceleration is directly equal to negative of x. Hence motion is simple harmonic motion. But in simple harmonic motion, like we have said always, but E is equal to minus omega square into x. So we will compare equations 1 and 2. By comparing, we get omega square is equal to G by L. So how much is omega? Root over G by L. Once I know omega, it's very easy for me to calculate how much will be the time period. Therefore, we have t is equal to 2 pi by omega. So t is equal to 2 pi root over. So now t will be equal to, it will become reciprocal L by G. So children, it is interesting to note that in this case also, we find that this tube will oscillate and the tube will behave like a pendulum having what length? L. Meaning the original length L of the liquid in the tube will act like the effective length of a simple pendulum. Clear? They can ask a question, what will be effective length of a pendulum which is equivalent to oscillations of liquid in a U-tube? So what will be the answer? They will equal to the length of the liquid column itself. Okay. So children, we discussed the second case, which was very interesting. Now I will be seeing another case where a block is depressed inside a liquid, and then we will find out what will be the time period of its oscillation. Okay. So let's move on to the next topic. Okay. Now children, we will be discussing the next case, which is oscillations of a block on a liquid surface. Oscillations of a block on liquid surface. Let's see. Suppose there is a liquid surface here. There is a liquid surface here, children, and then on this liquid surface a block has been kept, and this block is in equilibrium, right? Suppose it is stationary, not floating. It may be floating also, then even this case will be true. But imagine that this block is stationary, and then what we do is we depress it. We depress by a distance x. So see here, something like this happens. This part of the block comes inside, and we are depressing by what distance? X. We are depressing by distance x, and we will see that cross section area of the block is how much? E, and density of the liquid is rho. So the moment you depress the block inside liquid, then it displaces this much water. This volume of water, it is going to what? Displace. And the water which is displaced will be applying what? An upthrust in the upward direction. So I am depressing it down, and the upthrust will be in which direction? Upward direction. It is this upthrust which will be making the block oscillate. Clear? So the concept is that when we depress the block inside the liquid, then some weight of the liquid is displaced, and as the liquid is displaced, you have done in the principle of buoyancy, then there will be an upthrust on the block, and the upthrust will be equal to the weight of the liquid displaced. Okay. So here we will say, let cross section area of the block equals to A, and density of the liquid is equal to rho. Density of the liquid is equal to rho. Mass of the block will take as A, as capital M, right? And then children will say, let the block is depressed by distance x. I am depressing it by what distance? X. Okay. So once I depress it by distance x, children, then what is mass of the liquid displaced? Mass of the liquid displaced. Mass is equal to how much here? Small m I will be writing with capital M. I have already taken the mass of the block. Mass of the liquid displaced will be equal to volume A into x into density. Clear? This is mass of the liquid displaced. So upthrust will be is equal to m into g, that is A x rho into g. Now you can also remember here upthrust u is equal to how much? V rho g. It's basically same, because V into rho is equal to how much? Mass. Volume into density is equal to mass. So you can remember it like mg, or you can also remember v rho g. So v is a into x and rho into g. So restoring force will be equal and opposite. What will be restoring force? Minus a rho g into x. So children, once I got the restoring force, then what will be the acceleration? Therefore acceleration, E will be equal to force by mass, E will be equal to minus a rho g by m into x. So here you find that acceleration is directly equal to minus x. Hence, motion is simple harmonic motion. Clear? Now we need to calculate what will be time period of its oscillation. So we know, but A equals to minus omega square into x. So if we compare these two, so omega square will be how much, children? Omega square will be a rho into g by m. So how much is omega? Square root of a rho into g by m. And once you know how much is omega, then you can easily calculate how much will be the time period, because time period is 2 pi by omega. Yes, so we calculate here. Therefore t is equal to 2 pi by omega, and t becomes 2 pi root over, take reciprocal of this, root over m by a into rho into g. So children, we discussed these three cases. The first one was time period, a time period of an object going through a tunnel running through the center of earth. Second one, we discuss the oscillations of liquid in a tube, and this is another interesting case where we saw the oscillations of block kept on a liquid surface. Okay. Okay, now children, we will be discussing energy of a particle oscillating simple harmonically, or total energy in simple harmonic motion. Total energy in simple harmonic motion. Now you know already a particle can oscillate in any direction along x axis like this, or along y axis like this, or along a randomly selected direction also. In either case, suppose a particle oscillating simple harmonically along x axis, xx dash, O being the center, and then here we have mn, these are extremities. So obviously O is equal to how much here? Capital A, and then On is also is equal to capital A. As the particle is oscillating about point O as mean position, then we know that maximum it can go to is m on one side and n on the other side. Okay. At a given instant, we will assume that a particle is a point P, particle located at which point? P, at distance x. So children, we know as the particle moves away from the mean position, then its velocity goes on decreasing. We have done this equation, velocity of a particle v is equal to omega root over a square minus x square. So velocity will go on decreasing. So kinetic energy will obviously go on decreasing. Now when the particle will be reaching the extreme position, then here velocity becomes how much? 0. So kinetic energy becomes how much? 0. And the maximum energy is which energy? Potential energy. Now as it approaches, again starts coming toward the mean position, then the potential energy goes on decreasing and kinetic energy goes on increasing. So this sequence will continue to exist throughout the motion, and the energy exchanges will be as we have discussed. Right now we are assuming that this is an ideal case of simple harmonic oscillation, and there is no loss of energy due to damping. I mean, there is no friction with the medium particles, there are no resistive forces, and there is no loss of energy to the surroundings. So we will assume in this case that oscillations are ideal oscillations, not damped oscillations. That will be separate discussion we'll have. So that means at any given instant of time, the particle is having kinetic energy as well as potential energy, and both are changing with respect to x, right. So we'll see how the total energy varies as the particle moves away from the mean position again towards the mean position during the simple harmonic oscillation. So I'll say let mass of the particle is equal to m, and then amplitude is equal to a. Okay, so let particle is at distance x from mean position. Instantaneous position of particle is x from mean position. Okay, so velocity v is equal to omega root over a square minus x square. This is the velocity of particle when it is at a distance x from the mean position. So what will be its kinetic energy? K is equal to half mv square. So half m omega square into x square minus a square minus x square. Clear? And you know that we know that m into omega square is also equal to k, the spring factor. So you can also write like this, or kinetic energy k is equal to half k a square minus x square. You can put it like this also, where spring factor k is equal to m into omega square. You can keep it like this, simplified, or you can keep it like this also. Both ways you can keep. Now, once you have calculated kinetic energy, I'll not write as equation 2, is basically modification of equation 1, or you can write equation 2 also, there is no problem. But please know that these two equations are same. In place of m omega square I am writing k, where k is called what? Spring factor. Now, how will you calculate potential energy? We know from work energy theorem that potential energy is minus df dx. F equals to minus du dx. Clear? If I put the value of f is how much you have? Minus m omega square into x. Because we know that f is equal to how much you have? ma. And a is how much you have? Minus omega square into x. Clear? So we have this becomes minus du dx. If we remove the negative sign from both sides, then m omega square x will be equal to du dx. And if you cross multiply, what do you get? Du is equal to m omega square x dx. And children, we can just integrate both sides. If you integrate both sides, we can set up the limits. Du is equal to m omega square x dx. See, at mean position, potential energy is how much? 0. Because at mean position, we know the particle has only kinetic energy. At distance x, its potential energy is u. So integration of du is how much here? U. So we can simplify and say u equals to m omega square into x square by 2, 0 to x. U becomes half m omega square x square. So this is equation 3. So equations 3 and equation 1 here, these are actually the parent equations. This is for kinetic energy and this is for potential energy. Now if I use the short abbreviation, then k equals to how much here? M omega square. I can also write u is equal to half k into x square. So this is another short way of writing how much is the potential energy. So we found how much is the kinetic energy. We also found how much is the potential energy. So if I have to calculate the total energy of the particle oscillating simple harmonic motion. So total energy U will be equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy. And kinetic energy, how much you got? Half k into a square minus x square, and potential energy is half k into x square. If we take half k outside, then total energy E becomes equals to half k a square minus x square plus x square. Cancel out these two. So it becomes half k into a square. Now this is of huge significance for us. We are finding that kinetic total energy is half k into x square, meaning total energy actually is not depending upon the value of x. If I put the value of k also, this is k is how much here? K is equal to m into omega square. So energy will be half m omega square into a square. So this is of huge importance for us, a square. We find that the first property, the total energy of a particle oscillating simple harmonically is always constant. This is constant, does not change, whether the particle is at the mean position or whether it is at the what? Extreme position. The total energy is always same, and the total energy E is directly equal to mass. Bigger the particle, more is the energy, directly equal to omega square. Total energy is directly equal to what? Omega square, which is angular frequency, or just frequency square also you can write. And then very important, E will be directly equal to a square. We will be referring to this energy directly equal to a square very often in physics, including in interference, okay, when we will be considering energy of waves when they are interfering with each other, right. So we find that total energy of the particle is remaining same at every point of oscillation, and it is independent of the displacement of the particle from mean position, right. So graphically if I have to show, then you can see that the total energy is depending upon square of E. So parabolic in nature. If I graphically show this is distance from mean position x, then the graph comes like this for kinetic energy. You can see kinetic energy is maximum where? At the center. At the extremities, it is how much? 0. And this is maximum energy. When x is 0, here it is x, distance from mean position. At mean position, x is kinetic energy is how much? 0. Kinetic energy is maximum at the mean position, and at the extremity is how much? 0. How? At extremity, kinetic energy will be half k into a square minus a square is equal to 0. So at the extremity, kinetic energy is how much? 0. Here also kinetic energy is equal to 0. However, you see, at the extremity, potential energy is maximum. So it will follow a graph like this. You can understand this is potential energy. At the extremity, kinetic energy is 0. So here potential energy is maximum. At the center you see kinetic energy is maximum, so potential energy is how much? 0. U is 0. At the extremity, kinetic energy is 0. So here potential energy is maximum. So what we found about the total energy equation, children? The total energy is independent of displacement from the mean position. That's number one. Number two, the total energy is directly equal to mass, directly proportional to omega square, which is angular frequency, directly equal to amplitude square. This part is very important Meaning, if there are two waves, one wave is like this and the other wave is like this. So this wave will have what? More energy compared to the wave which is having smaller amplitude. So children, we discuss different aspects of simple harmonic oscillations today. In the next class, we will be solving many graded problems on this, which you require for JEE and NEET also. Many conceptual problems to keep following my lectures. Okay, thank you.